Hello everyone, good morning. So trade training is about ISO 9001 2015. If you want to get your company certified or your business you want to get certified for ISO 9001 2015, this training is very crucial for you. Even if you want to increase your knowledge for ISO 9001 2015, this training give you the very good beneficial information about the ISO standards. Okay, so why you want to get certified your company for ISO 9001 2015? Because the most important reason is about the quality, the service, the product, or anything you are selling to the market, to the customers. The most important thing is about the quality. If the quality is not maintained, that service, that product will not gonna work, and you won't be able to sustain in the market. So sustainability is the one of the most important thing. So you want to cover, okay, and you want to make your business profitable. So let's start about the training. So this is the introduction about me. My name is Pom Narayan. I'm working as a QHSE manager with over 10-year experience in QHSE sector. Last 8 years I'm working in UAE. Okay, and I have worked with the different sectors like catering, facility management, event management, hospitals, education, oil and gas sectors, hotels, food production units, and other sectors as well. I have done my master degree in occupational health and safety management system. I have done NEBOSH International Diploma in Occupational Health and Safety Management System, and I have diploma in food safety. I am a approved trainer from the Dubai municipality. I have advanced level 4 food safety training. I have HACCP level 4 food safety training, and I am a lead auditor for ISO 9001 2015, 14001 2015, 45000 2018, and 22000 2018. And I'm a Lean Six Sigma Green Belt certified training. I have got it, and I'm a certified fire warden and first aider. So this is a small intro about me. Okay, apart from these things, I have lots of trainings and other things I have achieved, but I have put only the short intro about me. So let's go to the training. So these are the main content which we're going to learn today in this training, okay, in ISO 9001 2015. There are total 10 clauses. Okay, the first clause is scope, the second clause is normative references, the third one is terms and definitions, fourth one context of the organization, fifth one is leadership, sixth one is planning, the seventh one is support. Okay, eighth clause is operation, the ninth one is performance evaluation, the 10th is improvement. Okay, these are the 10 clauses. After that we have the annex A and annex B. So in these 10 clauses there are 7 main clauses. Clause number 1, clause number 2, and clause number 3, these are not that much important clauses. Okay, but clause number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, these 7 clauses are very important. Okay, so clause number 1 is scope, normative references, terms and definition. These will keep changes as per the business. Okay, business to business, these things will keep changes. Okay, and these things will change as per your quality management system manual as well. Okay, so let's start. So this is the comparison between the old and new ISO. Okay, as we know that the old ISO 9000 was in 2018. Okay, in the old one there was clause number 1, 2, 3. There was till 3 was okay. After that clause number 4 was quality management system, 5 management responsibility, resource management, 6 clause number 7 product realizations, and the clause number 8 was measurement, analyze and improvements. So total 8 clauses was there, and the 5 main clauses were there in 9001 2008. In new ISO 9001 2015 standard there are total 10 clauses, as I said. Okay, and you can compare here the scope, normative reference, terms and definitions are same. The organizational context, it's a new one, leadership, planning. Okay, so these are the new one. Okay, so these are the new things they have updated in 2015. So let's start. As I said, this uh, scope, normative references, terms and definitions will be different as per the business requirements. So what you going to so whenever you are making any quality management system manual, so what you're going to include in this scope? In this scope, you will include about your business. Okay, what your business is really doing, what are the services, what are the product they are providing, what are the work they are doing. That thing you will mention in the scope when you are preparing any quality management system manual. Normative references, what are the whatever the terms or whatever the ISO standards or other references you have used in that manual, you will include them in normative references clause number 2. Clause number 3, you will include the terms and definitions. So maybe if you will put like QMS, what is QMS? Quality management system. So you have to put the definition of this one. What is a quality management system? If you will put the HSE, you have to put the definition of the HSE, health, safety and environment. Okay, you have to put the full form and the definitions of the HSE. What is the HSE definitions? So likewise, you have to put the definitions, all the terms you have used in the quality management system manual. So those three things will come here. Okay, scope, normative references and terms and definitions. Okay, after that, let's start the main clauses. The clause number 4 is the context of the organization. It is a new clause, as I said. Okay, so clause number 4.1, it is a subclause 4.1. It's talking about the understanding the organization and its context. Okay, the organization shall determine external and internal issues that are relevant to its purpose and its strategic direction and that affect its ability to achieve the intended results of its quality management system. Okay, so when you are preparing quality management system manual, you have to define the internal and external issues that will affect your business. Okay, some of the things can affect you in a long term, some of the things can affect you the short term. Okay, so all of these things need to be included in the context of the organization, internal and external issues. Okay, so when you are making any internal issues, you can write down like you have to pay the salary to the staff. If you will not pay the salary to the staff on time, what can go wrong? Okay, maybe they will not work properly, they will not give the quality work to your business, maybe there sometime they will stop the work because you are not paying them on time. So these are the internal issues. Okay, other thing, the internal issues are the incompetent staff. So you don't have the competent staff, so that will affect your product. So you will not get the product which you want to get from the outcome of the business. Okay, so that you will not get. So likewise, you have to write down your internal and external issues. So this is your internal issues. In the external issues, you can write down the VAT. Okay, value added tax, that can affect your business because you have to pay more money to the government. Okay, after that, any political issues, those political issues can affect your business also. Okay, after that, certain other thing, legal issues and other external issues, you can check and you can write it down. Okay, so likewise, you have to put the external and internal issues that will affect your business. Okay, after that, the organization shall monitor and review information about these external and internal issues. So what you have to do is whatever the internal and external issues are there, sorry, internal and external issues are there, you have to monitor them as well. Okay, but if you will not monitor them, what can happen? Maybe the external issues is there, tomorrow there won't be, it won't be there. Okay, so today is maybe today there is no any external issues, but tomorrow there could be the new external issues would be there. Same way, same thing, like the internal issues is not there now, but the tomorrow that could be the new internal issues that could be. So these internal and external issues need to be monitored as well. Okay, so what you have to note down here, the issues can include positive and negative factors or conditions for the consideration. So whenever you are preparing internal and external issues, it could be positive and it could be negative also. Okay. So whenever you are making the internal and external issues, what you have to do is you have to do the SWOT analysis. Okay. The strength, weakness, opportunity. Okay. So these are the things you have to do is whenever you are preparing the internal and external issues. Okay. So what I said, you have to do the SWOT analysis. So when you will do the SWOT analysis, so that time you will get the actual thing which is going to affect your business. Okay. So what is SWOT analysis? SWOT analysis, it's a study, okay, that you can use to identify your internal and external issues. So as I said, it's called strengthening, weakness, opportunities, and threats. Okay. There could be some strengths about your business, like you have the very good staff and they are very like good competent staff you have. Okay, they can give you the good product outcome. After that, maybe the weakness, you have things your company lacking. Maybe you don't have some machinery that can give you the best product. Okay, and the opportunity, maybe you are doing something good, but if you will modify that process or modify that thing, you can get it more better way. Okay, that's your opportunity for improvement. After that, you have the threats. Okay, threats you could have from the new business owners. Maybe you have a shop and just beside your shop there is another shop who's selling the same product like you, so that is a threat for you. Okay, so likewise you can do the SWOT analysis, the strengths, your weakness, your opportunity, and your threats to the business. Okay, after that, note 2, understanding the external context can be facilitated by considering issues arising from legal, technological, competitive market, cultural, social, economic environments, whether international, national, regional, or local. So whenever you are preparing your internal and external issues, you can check all these things. Okay, note 2. So you will get all the things involved. Note 3. Understanding the internal context can be facilitated by considering issues related to values, culture, knowledge, and performance of the organization. So whenever you are making your internal issues to the business, you can go through these things. Okay, considering issues related to values, culture, knowledge, and performance of the organization. Okay, so it's very easy. So whenever you are preparing any external issues, you go through these one. Okay, note 2. If you are preparing any internal issues, you go through the note 3. Okay, now we have the another subclauses number 2. It's understanding the needs and expectations of interested parties. Okay, due to their effect or potential effect on the organization's ability to constantly provide products and services that meet customers and applicable statutory and regulatory requirements, the organization shall determine. Okay, so what organization shall determine? They should determine the interested parties that are relevant to the quality management system. Okay, now how you will come to know that which party your interested party, or which are the group or which are the people your interested parties. Okay, so if you want to know that who is your interested parties, you can simply check that whoever is connected with you, whether directly or indirectly, whomsoever you are dealing with, whether directly or indirectly, you are communicating, you are dealing with them. Okay, so all of them are your interested parties. Okay, B. The requirements of these interested parties that are relevant to the quality management system. The organization shall monitor and review information about these interested parties and their relevant requirements. Okay. So what you have to do is you have to list it down their requirements of these interested parties. Okay. So let's say my interested party is Dubai municipality or any local government body. So what is their So why they are interested parties for me? Because they're asking me to comply with the law. Okay, so they are my interested parties and I'm dealing with them whenever they are coming for the audit, whenever they are coming for the inspections. I have to go with them, I have to show them, I have to, they have the right to check my business, so all these things they can check. Okay, so I'm dealing with them directly and indirectly as well. Okay, so they are the interested parties, and what they are asking from me, they are asking from me to make sure that my business is complying with the local regulations and the international regulations for quality management system. So that is their requirements. So whenever you are listing down your interested parties, so what you can do is you can list it down one side your interested parties and what is their requirements. Okay, one side local authority, interested parties, their requirements to make sure that my business is complying with the law. Okay, subclause number 4.3, determining the scope of the quality management system. Okay, so whenever you are preparing your quality management system manual, so you have to define the scope of the business also. Okay, the organization shall determine the boundaries and applicability of the quality management system to establish its scope. So whenever you are defining the scope of your business, you have to be very specific. Okay, you don't have to write down very lengthy words. Okay, so you have to write down only the one or two line of your business. Okay, so if you are providing any service, so what's your scope for the, like, let's say I'm providing any laundry service. Okay, so my scope will be providing laundry service, that's all, nothing more. Okay, so whenever you are determining this scope, the organization shall consider the external and internal issues referred to clause subclause 4.1. Okay, so these one you have to refer. So whenever you are defining the internal and external issues, after that, the requirements of relevant interested parties referred to in 4.2. So whatever the requirements of interested parties are there, you have to note down these also. Okay, after that, the products are service of the organization. Okay, so whatever the products and service you are providing, so you have to make sure that is included in your quality management system also. Okay, the organization shall apply all the requirements of this international standard if they are applicable within the determined scope of its quality management system. Okay, the scope of the organization's quality management system shall be available and be maintained and documented information. So this is the, okay, this is the requirement. Whenever you are making any document, so you have to maintain that as a documented information. Okay, so whenever there is audit, you must show these document to the auditor, and if any local body or another interested party is asking any documentation, you must show them. Okay, so you have to maintain them as a documented information. The scope shall state the types of products and service covered. So as I said, that whatever the product and whatever the services you are providing, that should be covered in this scope. Okay, and provide justification for any requirement of this international standard and that the organization determines is not applicable to the scope of its quality management system. In this quality management system, there are some scopes which is not applicable for each and every business. Okay, so whenever you are excluding those clauses or the sub clauses in your quality management system, you have to clearly write down in this scope. So whichever the clauses you are excluding, you have to write it down also. Okay, conformity to this international standards may only be claimed if the requirements determined as not being applicable do not affect the organization's ability or responsibility to ensure the conformity of its product and services and the enhancement of customer satisfaction. Okay, so let's say that some of the clauses use, as per your understanding, that that clause is not applicable for your business. But whenever you are saying that clause is not applicable for your business, you must show some evidence. Okay, maybe that clause is applicable for your business and that can affect your product service and that can affect the customer satisfaction also. So whenever you are excluding any clauses from the quality management system, you must show the evidence. Okay, why you are excluding them and what is the reason of exclusion. Okay, after that we have the subclause 4.4, quality management system and its processes. Okay. Subclauses 4.41, the organization shall establish, implement, maintain, and continually improve a quality management system. Okay, so what you have to do is you have to implement and continually maintain the quality management system manual. Okay, and this system, not only the manual, the system in your business also. Okay, including the process needed and their interactions in accordance with the requirements of these international standards. The organization shall determine the process needed for the quality management system and their applications throughout the organization, and shall determine the inputs required and the outputs expected from this process. Okay, let's say you have so many processes. Okay, uh, let's take the example of laundry. Okay, you have the laundry service. Okay, and cleaning is one of your process. Okay, so determine the inputs required. So what are the inputs required in this cleaning process? You have to mention there. Okay, and what are the outputs expecting you are from that cleaning process? Let's say my output is the laundry, the shirts which I'm cleaning, that should be free from any dirt, any like dirt spot, or it should be clean perfectly. That is my outputs I'm expecting from the cleaning process. So the likewise, whatever the process you have to mention the inputs. Okay, what are the inputs required to do that process? Okay, and what are the outputs you are expecting from that process? You have to mention them very clearly. Okay, after that, determine the sequence and infractions of this process. So whenever you are making the process, listed them down like the process flow diagram. Okay, like first step will be the collecting the soil and the dirty laundry. After that, you have to segregate them as per the what you call that department or the business wise. Like let's say you are collecting the hospital laundry, you are collecting the catering, you are collecting the worker laundry also. So you have to select them, segregate them. So once you will segregate them, what is the next step? Maybe the hospital laundry will go to the different department, maybe worker laundry will go to the different departments. Okay, after that, what is the next step? So what you have to do is all these steps from starting from collecting till dry clean or ironing. So all these process you have to list it down. Okay. C. Determine and apply the criteria and methods, including monitoring, measurement, and related performance indicators needed to ensure the effective operation and control of this process. Okay. Whenever you are implementing these process, you have to make sure that, and you have to apply the criteria, and you have to determine that how you're going to monitor them. Okay, and how you're going to measure them, and how you're going to make sure that any product which is not giving you the outputs which is required by your process, you are not releasing them to the customer. Okay, so what you have to do is you have to set the SOP, standard operating procedure. You have to make the procedures also, process which you want to follow. After that, maybe you have to put some formats, or you want to do the checklist. After the full process, maybe some of the supervisor he going to do the random checking, or maybe you can use the barcoding system. Okay, or other things you can use is as per your business suitability. Okay, next we have determined the resources needed for these process and ensure their availability. Okay, so let's say that we have the laundry process, laundry business, and my one of the process is cleaning the shirts. So while cleaning the shirts, what are the resources I required? Resources means what are the things you require to do this work properly as per the outputs expectations. Okay, so let's say that first of all I need the people to work for these things process. I need the equipment, I need the electricity, I need the water, I need the like laundry machines, and certain other things. So each and everything you have to determine what are the resources is required to do these things properly. Okay, to achieve the outputs of the process. So you have to listed them down also, so you should not miss them. Okay. After that, E, assign the responsibility and authorities of these process. So now you have the process. Now whom is going to do what are the works. Okay. So what you have to do is you can make their job responsibilities. Okay. Job, what you call, job descriptions. You can make their job descriptions, and you can make sure that they are understood about their job description. You can give them training, you can give them TBT, and you make sure that these responsibilities are properly, they are doing this one. Okay. And what are the authorities they have for this process. Okay. Let's say I'm giving the authority to the supervisor to reject the laundries which is not are properly clean. So that is the authority of the supervisor. Okay. So likewise, as per the what you call job role, you have to give them some give them responsibility. You have to write it down the responsibility, and you have to written down the authorities also. What are the authority you are providing them? Okay. After that, address the risk and opportunities and determine in accordance with the requirements. So, what are the in quality management system and its process? We have to address the risk and opportunities as well. Okay, as I said, the SWOT analysis. When you will do the SWOT analysis, in there you will get the some risk and some opportunities also. Those risk and opportunities you can include it in this also. Okay. After that, evaluate these processes and implement any changes needed to ensure that these processes achieve their intended results. Okay. So you have, what you have to do is you have to evaluate these process also. Okay. How you can evaluate? You can evaluate them like by every day you're going for the walkthrough, or you are checking them randomly. You are checking the samples also. You are doing the monthly audits. You can do the quarterly audit. You can do the biannually audit and the external audits as well, and any regulatory or the local government audits also. Okay. So by all these things you can check them also. You can evaluate them also. Okay. And if there is any requirements or any improvements is required, so you have to implement the changes also. Okay, to achieve the intended results. After that, improve the process and the quality management system. So what you have to do is you have to improve the processes also and the quality management system. So these things will run our next clauses which we have in the improvement sections, clause number 10. Okay. After that, we have the 4.4 to extent necessary, the organization shall maintain documented information to support the operation of its process. So whatever the document you are creating, whatever the process you are creating, okay, let's say you are creating the job description, one of the cleaner. Okay, let's say you are creating the SOP. So all these things, whatever the documents you are creating, you are developing, all these documents should be maintained. Okay. And retain documented information to have confidence that the process are being carried out as planned. Okay. And you have to retain a documented information. Okay. So if you are not maintaining any documents, it's not valid. Okay. Without document, no one is going to believe you. So what we have, your documented information is the only one thing which can tell you that yes, you are doing the things correctly. Otherwise, no one is going to believe you. Okay. So make sure each and everything, whichever things you are doing, that is documented. Okay. Okay, that is all about the clause number 4. Now we are moving to the clause number 5, which is leadership. Okay. Now what you have done is you have set your manual, you have set your scope, you have context of the organization, your internal and external issues, your interested parties, all of them you have set it. Okay, you have identified. Now the next thing is leadership. So leadership is very very important. If the leadership is not good, your business won't be survive. Okay, people will not work properly. Your worker, they don't want to work in your organizations. They will not feel good. Accident incidents and so many things can happen. Okay, so leadership is very very important. So our clause is clause number 5 is leadership. Sub clause is leadership and commitment. 5.1.1 is general. Top management shall demonstrate leadership and commitment with respect to the quality management system. Okay, so the leadership should be showed by the top management. Okay, so the leadership is always go from the top to bottom. Okay, from the CEO till cleaner of the organization. Okay, so they should show the leadership by taking accountability for the effectiveness of the quality management system. Okay, so how they can take the accountability of the effectiveness of the quality management system? What they can do is they can sign the quality management system manual. Okay, second thing, whenever they are coming for the visit, they can do the monthly audit or any random audits or any spot checking. They can do that to make sure that the quality management system is effective. Okay, after that, ensuring that the quality policy and quality objectives are established for the quality management system and are compatible with the context and strategic direction of the organizations. Top management can show the commitment by setting the quality policy, and they can sign off the quality policy. So it can show that yes, top management is committed for the quality management system, and it is signed by the top management like CEO or MD. Okay, and what are the objectives are established for the quality management system, that should be reflected in your quality policy as well. Okay, ensuring the integration of the quality management system requirements into the organization business process. Okay, so what are the resources are required for the quality management system requirement, the organization business process? So these resources should be provided by the leadership team also, and they, in that way, they can show their commitment also. Yes, they are committed to the quality management system, and in that way they are providing the resources to make sure that quality management system working properly. Okay, promoting the use of process approach and risk based thinking. So they are promoting the use of the process. So whatever the process is created, developed, they have to make sure that each and every process is following by the each and every employee. Okay, ensuring that the resources needed for the quality management systems are available. They have to make sure that whatever the resources are required for the quality management systems are available. Communicating the importance of effective quality management system and of conforming to the quality management system requirements. They can do the communications, okay, with the department heads, with the employee, uh, about the quality management system and the effectiveness, ensuring that the quality management system achieve its intended results. As I said, by yearly or by monthly, they can check the quality management systems objective and targets, and they can check that quality management system is achieving its intended results. So if they will check it regularly, so leadership commitment can be demonstrated as well. Okay, engaging, directing, and supporting persons to contribute to the effectiveness of the quality management system. They can engage with the employees. They can have a chat with the employees regarding the process, regarding the resources, whatever the resources they are getting, whatever the issues they are following. So through that way also they can show the commitment also. Promoting improvement. So top management showing the commitment to the improvement of quality management system by taking the responsibility, by providing the resources. So all in that way they can show the commitment. After that, supporting other relevant management roles to demonstrate their leadership as it applies to their areas of responsibilities. Okay, they can support other relevant management roles to demonstrate their leadership also. Like in the company, there are different leadership team is there, so they can also show the commitment. Like top management is showing the commitment, so the below the top management, the down level staff, they can also show the commitment to the quality management system also. Okay, our subclause is 5.1.2 is customer focus. Okay, top management shall demonstrate leadership and commitment with respect to customer focus by ensuring that it is one of the most important requirement of the top management. They should focus the customer also. Okay, and they can check the customer data also, customer satisfaction survey, customer complaints, and so many things they can check them also. So how they can do that? Customer and applicable statutory and regulatory requirements and determined, understood and constantly met. So what they can do is they can list it down the customer requirements, okay, statutory requirements, okay, and they can make sure that all these requirements are met. The risk and opportunity that can affect conformity of products and services and the ability to enhance customer satisfaction are determined and addressed. Whatever the risk and opportunities are there with the customer or the product, those risks with the product, with the services, that need to be identified, and what are the opportunities with that particular product and services, that also need to be identified, okay, and actions need to be taken on that. The focus on enhancing customer satisfaction is maintained. So whenever the customer complaints or customer saying any suggestions, those suggestions and the complaints should take as a positive way, and the improvement that should be shown. After that, we have the subclause 5.2 policy. Okay, 5.2.1 establishing the quality policy. As per ISO 9001 2015 standard, each and every business, they have this certificate, they have the ISO 9001 2015 certification. They should maintain a quality policy. So this is the requirement, and this is the responsibility of the top management to make sure that there is a quality policy established, implement and maintain, okay, and that quality policy should include these things. Okay, the quality policy should be appropriate to the purpose, okay, and context of the organization and supports its strategic directions. Okay, the quality policy, whenever you are preparing any quality policy, make sure that it is appropriate to the context of the organization. So whatever the context you have defined in clause number 4, those things also should be included, indicated in your quality policy. Okay, after that, provides a framework for setting quality objectives. So whatever the quality objectives you have make for your business, those some of the quality objectives you can mention in your policy also. Okay, you should include a commitment to satisfy applicable requirements. Okay, whatever the requirements is there under the quality management system, like customer requirements, statutory requirements or local government requirements, those requirements you should include in the quality policy also, and you should show the commitment in the quality policy. Okay, includes a commitment to continual improvement of the quality management system. You should mention that you will be commitment to your commitment to continual improvement of the quality management system when you are preparing the quality policy. Okay, so whenever you are preparing these policies, these are the things A, B, C, D are very very important. Apart from that, you can maintain you can mention some other things about your policies, about your business also. Clause number 5.2.2, communicating the quality policy. Okay, so once you made the quality policy, it should be communicated. So whom you're going to communicate, it should be available and be maintained as documented information. So as I said earlier also, whatever you are developing, whatever you are creating, that should be available as a documented information. Okay, after that, be communicated, understood and applied within the organizations. So whom you're going to communicate this quality policy? The quality policy should be communicated to all your employee. Okay, it should be communicated to your interested parties. Okay, so who is your interested parties? As we already discussed in clause 4, so whoever is your interested parties, these policies should be communicated with them also. These quality policies should be communicated with your contractors, your customers and so many other interested parties you have. It should be communicated with them also, and make sure that your employees, they understood, and it should be applied within your organization also. Okay, quality policy be available to relevant interested parties as appropriate. Okay, as I said, it should be communicated with them also, and it should be available to relevant interested parties as appropriate. Okay, so this is about the communication of the quality policy. So how you going to communicate with communicate the quality policy. So you have so many options. You can use the notice board. Okay, you can display the notice board. You can include the quality policy through the induction also. Okay, whenever the new employee is joining, you can include the quality policy in the TBT also. You can communicate the quality policy to your interested parties by email whenever you are starting any new business with the any customer. You are starting any business with the any contractor, you can communicate them through the email also. Okay. Clause number 5.3, organization roles, responsibilities and authorities. Top management shall ensure that the responsibilities and authorities for relevant roles are assigned. So it is top management responsibility that each and every person has their roles and responsibilities, and that is defined also, and they have to make sure that these roles and responsibilities are understood by the particular person. Okay, and that should be signed off by the particular employee also. If they are not signing the hard copy, you can share with them through the email, through the WhatsApp, or any communication, but you should have the evidence that yes, you have communicated these roles and responsibilities with the particular person. So in the future, if there is any issues, you should have the evidence of these things also. Okay. As I said, it should be communicated and understood with the organization. Within the organization, top management shall assign the responsibility and authority for. Okay, ensuring that the quality management system conforms to the requirements of this international standards, ensuring that the process are delivered their intended outputs. So whenever you are defining any roles and responsibilities, you should put them very clearly what you are expecting from the employee. Okay, so if you are setting any roles and responsibility from the you are setting any roles and responsibility to the employee for the cleaner, you should mention them about their job, what they have to do it, and what you are expecting from them. Okay, and what they have to follow, what are the responsibility they have, what are the authorities they have. Okay, all these things should be included. Reporting on the performance of the quality management system and to opportunities for improvement, in particular to top management. Okay, you should include that also. They should report the performance of the quality management system and any opportunity for improvement if they see, and if they see any issues with the quality management system, they should report it also. What else you can include in the job description is ensuring the promotion of customer focus throughout the organization. So anything which is related to the customer also, and business improvements, that should be followed as well. Ensuring that the integrity of the quality management system is maintained when changes to the quality management system are planned and implemented. So you have to mention that the integrity of the quality management system is maintained, okay, by the employees, and when changes the quality management system are planned and implemented. So that's all about the clause number 5. After that, we have the clause number 6. It is a planning. Okay, now you have set all your documentation, your quality management system, you have defined the roles and responsibility, you have developed the quality policy. Okay, now what you have to do, you have to plan. You have to plan what? You have to do the planning for the actions to address risk and opportunities. So whatever the risks are there for the business, and whatever the opportunities are there, you have to identify them also. So previously there was, in the ISO standards, was there addressing only the risk, not the opportunities. But now you should have the risk and opportunity registers, not only the risk register. Okay, you should have risk and opportunities register. So clause number 6.1.1, when planning for the quality management system, the organization shall consider the issues referred to in 4.1, clause number, subclause number 4.1. So whenever you are planning the quality management system, the organization shall consider issues referred to 4.1. So what are the issues were there? There was some internal issues and the external issues. So whenever you are making your risk register or opportunity registers, whatever the internal and external issues are there, you should consider them also. Okay, and the requirements referred to in 4.2. So what was included in the 4.2 is interested parties. Okay, those things also need to be included in your risk and opportunity registers, and determine the risk and opportunities that needed to be addressed to. Okay, so whatever the risk and opportunity register need to be addressed to, give assurance that the quality management system can achieve the intended result. Okay, so what you are targeting from your quality management system, what you want to achieve from your quality management system, that you should include. Okay, you should give the assurance. After that, enhance desirable effects. So whatever the effects is there for the business, that need to be enhanced also. Prevent or reduce undesired effects, achieve improvement, and you should achieve the improvement also. 6.1.2, the organization shall actions to address these risks and opportunities. Okay, so they should take the actions to address this risk and opportunity. So how they're going to do it, integrate and implement the actions into this quality management system process. Okay, which we have included in 4.4. After that, evaluate the effectiveness of these actions. So you have to evaluate the actions which you have took, you have to evaluate them also. After that, actions taken to address risk and opportunities shall be proportionate to the potential impact on the conformity of the product and services. Note 1. Options to address the risk can include avoiding risk, taking risk in order to pursue an opportunity, eliminating the risk source, changing the likelihood or consequences, sharing the risk, or retaining risk by informed decision. Okay, there are 4 different ways you can deal with the risk. Okay, first of all, you can avoid the risk, completing avoiding the risk. Okay, so after that, the second one is taking the risk. Avoiding risk, how you can avoid the risk? You can avoid the process. Okay, by avoiding that process, particular process, you can avoid the risk completely. Second thing, taking the risk. You can take the risk, but that risk, before taking the risk, you have to evaluate them. What is the benefit by taking that risk, and what is the risk or loss by taking that risk? Okay, after that, you can eliminate the risk sources. Okay, so let's say that there is some risk, and that risk for that process is coming through the particular process or the sources. So you can avoid those sources, so you can eliminate the risk source. Okay, after that, maybe you can transfer the risk. How you can transfer the risk? You can transfer that particular service to the external parties. Okay, external contractor. You are not going to do that work, but you are giving that work to the external parties, so the risk will be completely transferred. Okay, or you can retaining risk by informed decision. You can retain the risk, but you have to decrease that risk. After then only you can retain the risk. Okay, after that, opportunities can lead to the adoption of new practices. Okay, whenever you are doing the SWOT analysis, you will identify some opportunities also. Okay, these opportunities may be adoption of new practices, launching new products, opening new markets, addressing new customers, building partnership, using new technology, and other desirable and viable possibilities to address the organization so its customers needs. Okay, so by all these things you can identify your opportunities. Okay, through different ways you can identify the opportunities for your business. Okay, but maybe by launching the new products you will get more profit, more revenue. Okay, opening the new markets, you will get the more revenue, more profit. So in that way you can identify. After that, we have the 6.2 quality objectives and planning to achieve them. Okay, so what is the quality objective? You must set the quality objectives for your business. Okay, so whatever the quality objectives is there for your business, you have to must make as a documented information. Okay, subclauses number 6.2.1, the organization shall establish quality objectives at relevant functions. Okay, relevant functions means you should include the quality objectives not only for the operation. You should put the quality objectives maybe for the HR. Okay, maybe for the training department, maybe for the operation department, maybe for the maintenance department. Okay, as per department wise, you should mention at least 2 to 3 quality objectives. So in that way you will include each and every department in your business. Okay, so levels and process needed for the quality management system, the quality objectives. Okay, so whatever the levels and process needed for the quality management system, that should be included also. Okay, so whenever you are making the quality objectives, you should and the quality objective shall be consistent with the quality policy. Okay, your quality objectives and your quality policy should be matched. It should not be mismatched. Okay, it should be measurable. So let's say if you are setting one quality objective that like let's say that 100% customer satisfaction, it should be measurable. So how you going to measure it? Like every month you're going to do the customer satisfaction survey. In that customer satisfaction survey you should get the 100% satisfaction. If you are putting the your target is 100%. Okay, so that should be measurable. So measurable in the sense is it should be number. Okay, let's say 5%, 10%, 50%, 60%, it should be number. So only the numbers can be measured. Okay, take into account applicable requirements. So whenever you are setting the objectives, you should take into the accounts of applicable requirements. What are the requirements? Requirements of what? Requirements of the business, requirements of the quality management system, ISO standards, requirements of the legal authority, requirement of the international standards, so on. Okay, it should be relevant to conformity of products and services and to enhancement of customer satisfaction. Okay, it should be relevant and it should be monitored. So how frequently you're going to monitor, you have to decide that one in your quality objectives. Okay, like let's say you want to monitor them in a quarterly basis, so you have to mention that in a quarterly basis. Okay, after that the quality objectives whatever you are preparing, that should be communicated also, your at least inside your organization. Okay, it's not that much it's not that requirement that it should be communicated to all the interested parties, but it should be communicated inside your organization, at least your staff. Okay, so you can communicate through the TBT, training, induction. Okay, you can do the communication through the notice board also. So it's all up to you, and it should be updated as appropriate. Okay, if you are putting monitoring quarterly basis, so as every quarter you can update them. Okay, the organization shall maintain documented information on the quality objectives. As I said, each and everything document which you are developing, creating, that should be maintained as a documented information. After that, 6.2, when planning how to achieve its quality objectives, the organization shall determine what will be done. Okay, so after creating the quality objectives, you should develop the format, or you should develop the document how you're going to achieve these quality objectives. Okay, let's say my first objective is to get staff like let's say in a month I want to train each staff 4 hours. Okay, that is one of my objectives. So every month each staff should be trained 4 hours. That is my one of the objectives. Okay, what will be done? So how are you going to do that? Okay, how are you going to train each and every staff for 4 hours? Okay, you can train them by TBT, you can train them by monthly training. Okay, this is the way you can do it. Okay, what resources will be required whenever you are planning? Okay, to achieve the objectives, you should make sure that you are calculating, or you are listing down the resources which is required to achieve your objectives. Okay, let's say that each and every staff need to be trained for 4 hours, but to train that 4 hours, what you required? Maybe you required the staff. Okay, maybe the staff are very busy. Okay, so resources here is the time which you need from the operation. Okay, so who will be responsible to train this training? Okay, maybe the trainer, maybe the HSC department, maybe the HR department, who is the responsible. Okay, and the timeline when it will be completed. Okay, maybe within 15 days, maybe within 30 days. So it should be mentioned there also. Okay, and how the results will be evaluated. So how you're going to evaluate the results, okay, whether you have achieved the 4 hours or not. Okay, so how you're going to achieve it? By the training record. Okay, training information. So whatever the training you have provided, through those training you can evaluate the results. Okay, whether you have achieved the objectives or not. Okay, so in that way, in this one, clause number 6.2, you have to develop two documents. One, quality objectives and targets that you have to make for the business, and the second thing, planning to achieve those quality objectives. Okay, after that, planning of changes. 6.3, clause number 6.3, planning of changes. When the organization determines the need for changes to the quality management system, the changes shall be carried out in a planned manner. Okay, so when there is any changes in the quality management system, that should be carried out in a planned manner. You can check the and whenever you are doing any changes, you should go to the clause number 4.4. Okay, and whenever you are doing any changes, the organization shall consider the purpose of the changes and their potential consequences. So what is the purpose of the changes, why you want to do the change, okay, and what are the consequences of that changes will be there. Okay, the integrity of the quality management system. What is the integrity of the quality management system? That should be considered also. And the availability of resources. So when you are doing any changes, do you have the resources to make sure that after that changes you will get the outcomes which is mentioned in your quality management system. Okay, the allocation or relocation of responsibilities and authorities. Okay, after doing the certain changes, what are the allocation or relocation of responsibilities and authorities will be there. Okay, maybe let's say you are doing the changes in the top management. You have the general management, you have the general manager, and you have the director. Now what you want to do is you want to remove the general manager. Okay, so what you are doing here, by removing the general manager, you are doing the changes in the management, top management. Okay, now the general manager roles and responsibilities will come to the director. Okay, so before doing any changes, you should check that the purpose of the changes, why you're doing these changes. Maybe you want to do that by to like get to avoid the cost. Okay, staff cost, you want to avoid that one. So by avoiding that cost, what is the potential consequences? Maybe the benefit, maybe the negative, positive or negative consequences will be there. Okay, positive or negative things will be there. The integrity of the quality management system, that should be checked also. Okay, the availability of the resources. So now you are transferring the roles and responsibilities of the general manager to the director. So do the director is capable, or does he has the time and resources to do the roles and responsibility of the general manager? Okay, maybe he don't have that much time, maybe he don't have that much capability like general manager. Maybe the general manager roles and responsibilities are different from the director. Okay, so in that way you have to do the consideration. Okay, so whenever you are doing the planning of changes or you are doing any changes, what you have to do here is you have to make the documents also. What are the documents you required? You need the format, planning of changes. Okay, you need the process, planning of changes. Okay, how you going to change and what you're going to change in the process should be mentioned, and what are the steps you will do the planning of changes. Okay, so the planning of changes will be like if the law is changed. Okay, if there is any new equipment come, okay, or new equipment change. Okay, and if there is a changes in the department. Okay, these three things need to be considered when doing any changes. Our next topic is support. Okay, so now you have done all the planning. Now the next thing is clause number 7 is support. It's all about providing the resources, providing the support to the operation, to the business. Okay, to achieve the intended outcome of the process in the business. Okay, so to achieve that one, what you have to do is you have to provide the resources, which is the subclause number 7.1. So whenever you are providing the Resources in general. The organization shall determine and provide the resources needed for the establishment, okay, implementation, maintenance, and continual improvement of the quality management system. So whenever you are providing any resources, you have to make sure that these resources needed for the establishment, implementation of the quality management system, maintenance of the quality management system, continual improvement of the quality management system. Okay. So the organization shall consider capabilities of and constraints on existing internal resources, whatever the internal resources you have already. So when you are providing any new resources, you have to consider the existing internal resources also. Okay. What needs to be obtained from external providers. Okay. So when you are providing any resources, so what you are going to get from the external providers, that also need to be considered. So what comes under the resources when the organization providing the resources? Okay, the first thing is the people. Okay, 7.1.2 clause, subclause. The organization shall determine and provide the persons necessary for the effective implementation of its quality management systems and for the operation and control of its process. Okay, so the people is very, very important. If you are not provide any competent people, or the correct required number of people to do some kind of process or work, you won't be get the outcome from that process. Okay, intended outcome you will not get. So the requirement is you have to provide the peoples to do that job properly. Okay, people may be the cleaner, people may be the quality department, people may be the HSC department, people may be the operation department, and so on. Okay, after the people, you have to provide the infrastructure. So clauses 7.1.3 infrastructure. The organization shall determine, provide, and maintain the infrastructure necessary for the operation of its processes and to achieve conformity of products and services. Okay. Note, infrastructure can include, it could be include the buildings and associated utilities. Okay. Building which is suitable and free from any hazard and risk. Associated utilities like water, gas, electricity, and so on. Equipment including hardware and software. Okay, equipment like your machine, hardware. Okay, your computer, any software like barcoding software to read the bar, or any like metal detector, any X-ray system. Okay, so these are the equipment which is including the hardware and software. And after that, transportation resources, transport for transfer the staff or transport the staff, or it could be like transport your process, transport your products, transport your services, anything. Okay, information and communication technology. Company should provide the information and communication technology like let's say you have the security departments. So security department, how they going to communicate with each other. Okay, like the walkie talkie or any other communication devices they have. And information, you have to provide them information, how you're going to provide it. Information you will provide it through the notice board. Okay, information you will provide it through the any website, company website. So all these things will include it in information and communication technology under the infrastructure. After that, environment for the operation of process. Okay, the organization shall determine, provide, and maintain the environment necessary for the operation of its process and to achieve conformity of products and services. Okay, so whenever you are deciding any environment for the operation of process, you have to make sure that the environment is free from any kind of hazard and risk. Okay, if that environment is too dusty or the environment is not clean and you are providing very high level of service or the products to the customer, that environment can affect your product and it can be like disaster for your business as well. Okay, note, a suitable environment can be combined of human and physical factors such as social, non-discriminatory, calm, and non-confrontational. Okay, so whenever you are taking care of the environment, you are considering of the suitable environment, you have to make sure about the environment for the person who is working there, for the social. Maybe the staff, they are bullying any new staff. Okay, maybe they are discriminating the new staff. So all these things need to be considered. After that, you have to consider the physiological, like stress reducing, okay, burnout prevention, emotionally protective. Okay, so if you are giving too much stress to the your staff, they won't work properly and they don't want to work there for the long time. So all these things need to be considered when you are providing the suitable environment to your staff. After that, physical, example, temperature, heat, humidity, light, airflow, hygiene, and noise. All these things need to be considered. If the environment is noisy, people, they won't be able to work there too much for a long time. Okay, and maybe their hearing ability will be lost, and after that, there will be the issues to the company because of your work environment. Another person is going to lose his hearing ability. Okay, these factors can differ substantially depending on the products and services provided. As I said, dust, okay, any other thing, moistures, anything can affect your business. These all things need to be considered. Okay. After that, we have 7.1.5 monitoring and measuring. 7.1.5.1 is general. The organization shall determine and provides the resources needed to ensure valid and reliable results when monitoring or measuring is used to verify the conformity of products and services to requirements. Okay. The organization shall ensure that the resources provided are suitable for the specific type of monitoring and measurement activities being undertaken, are maintained to ensure their continuing fitness of their process for the purpose. Okay, the organization shall retain appropriate documented information as evidence of fitness for purpose of the monitoring and measurement resources. After that, whatever the resources you have, that resources should be monitored, and measuring resources, whatever the monitoring and measuring resources you have, like uh, you have the weighing scale. Okay, measuring, you are using the weighing scale for measuring. Okay, let's say I'm going to measure the product. Suppose I am receiving food items from the supplier and I want to measure them. I order 15 kg, so I want to make sure that I am receiving 15 kg, so I will measure. So measuring resources I have, what are the measuring resources I have? I have the measuring resources weighing scale. Okay, so weighing scale, I have to be make sure that is suitable for the specific type of measurement activities being undertaken. So weighing scale is suitable. So how am I going to make sure that the weighing scale is suitable is I have to do the calibration there. Okay, I can do that internal calibration and I can do that external calibration through the third parties. Okay, so whenever doing the calibration for these things, monitoring and measuring resources, so those documented should be maintained also. What document you can maintain here? You can maintain the calibration document. Okay, calibration certificate, calibration date, calibration due date, calibration expiry date. Okay, all this information should be maintained as a documented information. After that, 7.1.5.2 measurement traceability. When measurement traceability is a requirement or is considered by the organization to be an essential part of providing confidence in the validity of measurement results, measuring equipment shall be. Okay, whatever the measurement results will come, and the measuring equipment shall be calibrated or verified, as I said, or both. So how you're going to calibrate internal and external, how you're going to verify, you're going to check the certificate and you can verify by using the different weights on the weighing scale. Okay, or you can verify by using the different thermometers to check the temperature, and you have to do that at specified intervals. As per the certificate is saying that it's going to expire at 1 year, so after 1 year you have to do that one, so it is annually. Okay, prior to use you have to do the calibration also, you have to check them that is suitable for the use. Okay, also against measurement standards, traceable to international or national measurement standards. Okay, so it should be traceable to international or national measurement standards. So if you are using any international or national standards, that should be traceable as well. Okay. When no such standards exists, the basic used for calibration or verification shall be retained as documented information. So documented information you have to maintain, identified in order to determine their status, safeguarded from adjustment, damage, or deterioration that would invalidate the calibration status and subsequent measurement results. So you should safeguard your equipment also, and their calibration sticker also. And if the weighing scale is there, so weighing scale is very crucial. Those buttons and those internal parts of the weighing scales, those should be protected also. If those things will be damaged, it will not give you the correct weight. Okay. The organization shall determine if the validity of the previous measurement results has been adversely affected when measuring equipment is found to be unfit for its intended purpose, and shall take appropriate action as necessary. Okay, so let's say that after 1 year you are going to recalibrate any weighing scale, and during the recalibration you found that weighing scale is not working properly and there is an error. So you should take the action on that particular weighing scale, and you should have the documentation as well also for that purpose. Okay, so let's say that weighing scale is not working properly. So what you will do is you will give that for the, your action will be that you provided that for the maintenance. After the maintenance you will do the recalibrate them. Okay, so if the recalibration, if it's okay, then you can do the calibration again and you can use it. Otherwise that should be moved from the operation, and all this information should be communicated to the responsible department. If this weighing scale is only for the receiving area person, that should be communicated for them also. Okay, so they should be know that that weighing scale is not working properly, so they should get the another one, another option. Okay, after that, 7.1.6, organizational knowledge. The organization shall determine the knowledge necessary for the operation of its process and to achieve conformity of product and service. So whatever the persons, the people, resources you have provided, you have to make sure that they are competent. They are competent to achieve the conformity of product and services. Okay, this knowledge shall be maintained and be made available to the extent necessary. When addressing changing needs and trends, the organization shall consider its current knowledge and determine how to acquire or access any necessary additional knowledge and required updates. Okay. Note 1. Organizational knowledge is knowledge specific to the organization. Okay. So let's say the department heads or the top management, they have the very good knowledge about the organization. Okay. It is generally gained by experience. It is information that is based on internal sources, example, intellectual property, used and said to achieve the organizational objectives. Note 2. Organizational knowledge can be based on internal sources, example, intellectual property, knowledge gained from experience, lesson learned from failures and successful projects, capturing and sharing undocumented knowledge and experience, the results of improvements in processes, products and services. So all these things you can consider as organizational knowledge. Okay. B. External sources, example, standards, academia, conference, gathering knowledge from customers, external providers. Okay. So in your company, let's say you have the 100 people, and all these 100 people, they have the different knowledge about the organizations. Okay, they have the knowledge about the organization through the internal things as we discuss here, and they may have the knowledge through the external sources also, like the standards, ISO standards, academia, conference, gathering knowledge, and other things also. Okay, so all these things considered as the organizational knowledge. Okay. 7.2, competence. The organization shall determine the necessary competence of persons doing work under its control that affects the performance and effectiveness of the quality management system. Okay, so the staff which you have hired, they should be competent to do their work, and you should maintain a documentation. Okay, you should maintain the competency matrix. Okay, for for this purpose. So it is very helpful during the audit. What you can do is, while you are maintaining the competency matrix, you can create the competency matrix department wise and the role wise. Let's say the competent matrix, you want to make it for the production department manager. Okay, maybe you have the 5 different manager for the production department and you want to make the competency matrix for them. So first of all, you should make the competency matrix what you are looking from a manager, what he should have. Maybe he should have the master degree. Okay, and after that he should have certain number of experience, let's say 10 years, 15 years. He should have the particular training certificate. He should have the knowledge about the process. Okay, so all these things you have to list it down. Okay, after that you have to make the competency matrix about the manager. Okay, and you have to check that, so the manager which you have hired, whether he has the same thing or not. Okay, if he don't have the same thing, if you're going to hire or not. Okay, or if you're going to hire them, what are the new things you can do that to match the things which you are asking from the competency matrix. Okay, let's say he don't have this certificate. Okay, but the other things he has. So maybe you decided that you're going to hire him and after that you're going to train him. So after the training he will be competent for your job role. Okay, so in that way you have to maintain the competency matrix for each and every staff. Competency matrix should be maintained, and that should be maintained as a documented information. Okay, after that, ensure that these persons are competent on the basis of appropriate education, training and experience, as I said. Okay, where applicable, take actions to acquire the necessary competence and evaluate the effectiveness of the action taken. So each and every month or every quarterly you can evaluate their knowledge, their competency and the competency of effectiveness of the action taken. You can retrain them, you can ask the question from them, or you can send them for the training, and so many other actions you can take. Retain appropriate documented information as evidence of competence. Okay, so you should maintain as a documented information, as I said, as a evidence of competence. Okay, whenever there is an audit, the auditor may ask you the competency, evidence of competency of the particular staff. Okay, so you can list it down, their evidence of competency. Okay, their knowledge, their experience, their education, their training, and so many things. Okay, note, applicable actions can include, for example, the provision of training to the mentoring of or the reassignment of currently employed persons, or hiring or contracting of competent persons. Okay, these are the actions. Okay, applicable actions can include. Okay, these are the actions for the competency. After that, awareness. Clause number 7.3, awareness. The organization shall ensure that persons doing work under the organization control are aware of. Okay, the person who is working under the organization, he should be aware of the quality policy. Okay, these are the things must, they should be aware. Okay, while you are doing the communications. Okay, communication with the staff, with whether it is a CEO, whether he is a cleaner. Okay, these are the things, basic thing are must, you must need to communicate with your staff. Okay, the first thing is the quality policy. Okay, you should communicate the quality policy with each and every staff. Relevant quality objectives, same thing. Okay, each and every staff, their contribution to the effectiveness of the quality management system, how they can contribute to the quality management system. Okay, including the benefits of improved performance, these should be included in the communication also. The implication of not conforming with the quality management system requirements. Okay, what are the implications if they are not conforming with the quality management system requirements? These things also need to be communicate with the staff. So these are the things you must communicate with your staff. Okay, these are the requirements. If you will not communicate these things with your staff, there would be the problem during the audit. Auditor may mark you as an NC. Okay, as I said, 7.4, it's a communication clause. The organization shall determine the internal and external communication relevant to the quality management system. Okay, so while you are communicating, okay, you should have the communication process. Okay, SOP. In that SOP you should clearly define what you're going to communicate and whom you're going to communicate. If you're going to communicate with the internal parties, okay, your internal staff, what you're going to communicate with them, okay, and how you're going to communicate with them, all these things should be included. And when you are communicating the external parties, what you're going to communicate with them, okay, how you're going to communicate with them, and the evidence how you're going to maintain, okay, all these things should be included in your SOPs, your process, okay, communication process. So what you're going to include in the communication is on what it will be communicated, okay, so what you're going to communicate them, okay, and when you're going to communicate them, with whom to communicate, with whom you're going to communicate, whether the internal parties or the external parties, how to communicate, through the email, through the notice board, through the TBT, who communicates, who going to communicate, it is whose responsibility, okay. So all these things should be mentioned in your process, and you should have the process for the communication, okay. After that, 7.5, documented information. As I said since the starting, that each and everything you are creating, you are developing, that should you should make it as a documented information, okay. The organization quality management system shall include documented information required by this international standards, okay, it is a standard requirement. Documented information determined by the organization as being necessary for the effectiveness of the quality management system, okay. You, so when you are making the documented information, you should have the SOP, standard operating process, okay, how you're going to make the document, what are the numbers you're going to use it, and all these things should be included in there. Note: the extent of documented information for a quality management system can differ from one organization to another due to, okay, so whenever you are making the documented information for the quality management system, it would be different from business to business, okay. Why? Because of the size of the organization and its types of activities, process, products, and services. Each and every business, they have the different size of the organization, management, environment, process, product, and services. So that's why it would be different. The complexity of process and their interactions. The process could be complex and their interactions could be complex, okay. And competence of person, maybe the person who is making the documents, he is not competent, okay, the competency level is different, so that's why it could be the reason also, okay. So whenever you are creating and updating any document, okay, clause number 7.5, whenever you are creating and updating any document, so when creating and updating documented information, the organization shall ensure appropriate identification and description, okay. So document header, there should be a title, okay, it should tell you the clearly what document it is, okay. Let's say cleaning checklist, it is a title of that document. In that cleaning checklist, when you are making the title, the top of that or the side, that you can mention your company name. After that, date, okay, the date of the revision or the date of the implementation of that document, okay. Author and the reference number, who is the author of that document, your company, okay, company is the author, okay. And the reference number of the document, your reference number should be completely different from the another organization, because each and every reference number, it is purely depend on your business name, okay, and certain things. So whenever you are making any format, example language, software version, graphics and media, example paper and electronic, these things should be included in your process, documentation process, okay. Review and approval for suitability and adequacy, so how frequently you're going to review it and who's going to approve that document, it should be mentioned in your documentation process, okay. The next one is clause number 7.5.3, control of documented information. 7.5.3.1, documented information required by the quality management system and by this international standard shall be controlled to ensure it is available and suitable for use where and when it is needed, okay. It should be suitable for use. Okay, it is adequately protected, example from loss of confidentiality, improper use, or loss of integrity. Okay, so quality management system documentation that should be protected from the loss of confidentiality, improper use, or loss of integrity. So any one person can from the department, let's say quality management department head, he can maintain all these documents and he should make sure that it is protected as well. Clause number 7.5.3.2 for the control of documented information. The organization shall address the following activities as applicable. So what you have to do is you have to follow these activities. Okay, distribution, access, retrieval, and use. So whomsoever you are distributing, you should have the evidence also. Okay, you can make a list also. Okay, when you are distributing, whom you are distributing, what is the reason of distributing, you can make a checklist. Okay, not a checklist, you can make a format. And access, who has the access on those documents. Retrieval, when you're going to take it back, maybe after 1 year, when you're going to review that, and what is the use of those documents for that particular person whom you're going to share it. Okay, storage and preservation, how you're going to store it and how you're going to preserve it, including preservation of legibility. Okay, control of changes, example version control. So how are you going to control of changes? Maybe you change the document now, but you didn't circulate to the another persons or the another departments, so the version number and the control number will be different and it will be the problem. Retention and disposition, you should make a format for the retention of the documentation, how long you going to retain those document. Let's say product receiving record, I'm going to retain it for the 6 months. So after 6 months I'm going to dispose that document. After 6 months I'm not going to use that document, recorded document. Okay, after 6 months I will dispose of. Okay, so that format you have to create it. Okay, and after that each and every document you can mention in that one. Okay, let's say SOB, let's say your format, let's say your checklist. After using that, how long you will retain it, and after that how you're going to dispose it, that should be mentioned also. Documented information of external origin determined by the organization to be necessary for the planning and operation of the quality management system shall be identified as appropriate and be controlled. So let's say you are using some external documents also. External documents which you have the ISO certificates, you have the ISO standards, you have the local government law, rules and regulations, and so many things you have, like customer contract. So who going to manage those external documents? That should be clearly identified in your documentation process also. Okay, and you should make a list also about the external origin documents also. Okay, who has it, what are the external documents, from whom you are getting that one, and how long you will keep it, all these things should be there. Documented information written as evidence of conformity shall be protected from unintended alterations. So whatever the documents you are maintaining, okay, that should be protected from the any alterations. Maybe some of the staff they want to change the document in their way, so that should be protected, and that should be clearly communicated with all the staff member. Okay. Note: access can imply a decision regarding the permission to view the documented information only, or the permission and authority to review and change the documented information. Okay, whenever you are circulating any document, it should be clearly mentioned that you should clearly tell them that that document is only for the using purpose, not for any changing, not for any alteration purpose. Okay. Our next clause is clause number 8, operation. Once you provide the resources support, then you have to start the operation. Okay, so clause number 8 is operation. Subclause 8.1 is operational planning and control. Okay, how you're going to plan the operation and how you're going to control the operation, that's all you're gonna learn in clause number 8. Okay, so let's start. The organization shall plan, implement and control the process. Okay, So how you're going to implement and how you're going to control the process, you can see this one is in the clause 4.4. Okay, needed to meet the requirements. Okay, whichever the requirements are mentioned in the clause number 4.4, that's need to meet the requirements. Okay, for the provision of product and services, and to implement the actions determined in clause number 6. Okay, and whatever the actions determined in clause number 6, that also need to be implemented. And how you're going to implement is, you have to implement is by determining the requirements for the product and services. Okay, what are the requirements for the product and what are the requirements for the services. You have to establish criteria for the process. Okay, the acceptance of product and services. Okay, acceptance criteria, like after the production, after the finishing of the process, what are the criteria, what are the criteria you're going to set that yes, this product is safe for dispatching, this product is safe to go for customer. Okay, this product is safe to go for the market. Okay, all these things, all these criteria you have to set. After that, determining the resources needed to achieve conformity to the product and services requirements. So what are the resources you required to achieve the conformity to the product and services, also that's also need to list it down. Okay, after that, implementing control of the process in accordance with the criteria, determining, maintaining and retaining documented information to the extent necessary. So all these things, okay, once you do establish the requirements of product and services, establishing the criteria, determining the resources, all these things need to maintain as a documented information. Okay, determining, maintaining and retaining documented information to extent necessary, to have confidence that the process have been carried out as planned, to demonstrate the conformity of products and services of the requirements. So when you are maintaining the documented information, that documented information must show, okay, that the process have been carried out as planned. So the way you have planned the process, the exact in the same way the process has been carried out, it should show the evidence. Okay, after that, demonstrate the conformity of products. So it should demonstrate the conformity of the products and services to the requirements. Okay, it should meet with the requirements. The output of this planning shall be suitable for the organization operations. The organization shall control planned changes and review the consequences of unintended changes, taking action to mitigate any adverse effect as necessary. As we discussed earlier about the changes, so organization should review the consequences of unintended changes, taking actions to mitigate an adverse effect. So all these actions need to be taken regarding the changes. The organization shall ensure that outsourced process are controlled. Okay, that we will look at clause number 8.4. After that, subclause 8.2, requirements for product and services, customer communications. So you have the product and you have the services, and these product and services you are selling out to the customers. So what are the communications you should make with the customers? Okay, communication with customers shall include providing information relating to product and services. Okay, whatever the services or the product you are providing to the customers, all these necessary information need to be provided to the customer. Okay, like let's say you are providing any water bottle to the customer. Okay, water bottle service. So what are the necessary information regarding the water bottle? Okay, how long you can keep, the shelf life. Okay, ingredients of the water, what are the minerals, what are the vitamins, sources you are adding them. Okay, so how your process is going to work, how much sodium level is there. Okay, so all these process need to be there, and you should inform to the customer. After that, handling inquiries, contracts or orders including changes. So you should handle the inquiries whichever is coming through the customers, contracts or orders including changes also. Okay, all these things need to be communicated with the customer. Obtaining customer feedback relating to products and services, like let's say as I said earlier that you should do the customer satisfaction survey. So all these things you will do through the customer communication, including customer complaints. After that, handling or controlling customer property. If you are using any customer property, so how you going to use that one, okay, and how you going to maintain that property, all these things need to be communicated with the customer as well. Establishing specific requirements for contingency actions when relevant. If there is any emergency and you are working in a customer premises, so what are the contingency plan that you're going to take at the time of emergency that also need to be communicate with the customer. Subclause 8.2.2, okay, determining the requirements for products and services. When determining the requirements for products and services to be offered to customer, the organization shall ensure that. So whenever you are offering any product or services to the customer, so you must follow these things. Okay, first of all, the requirements for the product and services are defined. Okay, so whatever the requirements and for the product and services, those requirements should be defined. Okay, so what should include in the requirements? It should include any applicable statutory and regulatory requirements. If there is any local law or regulations, that also need to be included. Second, those considered necessary by the organization. So there are some rules and regulations or policies, those considered necessary by the organization, those also need to be included. After that, by the organization can meet the claims for the product and services it offers. After that, review of the requirements for product and services. The organization shall ensure that it has the ability to meet the requirements for products and services to be offered to customers. So organization who providing any services or product to the customers, it should have the ability to meet the requirements of the customer. If you are taking any business, any contract without knowing your ability, okay, and after that starting the contract, you won't be able to fulfill the requirements of the customers. So what will happen? Your image in the market, it will spoil. So to avoid those situation, you should make sure that you know the requirements of the customers and you should evaluate your ability to meet with the customer requirements. The organization shall conduct a review before committing to supply products and service to customers to include, okay, as I said. After that, requirements specified by the customers, including the requirements for delivery and post delivery activities. What are the requirements of the customer, whether you can meet the customer requirements or not. Okay, after that, requirements not stated by the customers but necessary for the specified or intended use when known. Maybe customers, they are not mentioning it while starting the contract, and maybe they are not mentioning it in the contract, but after starting the contract they are specifying, they are saying something else, or like they need some more support from your side. So these things also need to be included, whether you can achieve those like targets or not. After that, requirements specified by the organization. If there is any particular requirements which is specified by the organization, that also need to be included. Statutory and regulatory requirements can applicable to the product and services, so these requirements also need to include. Contract or order requirements differing from those previously expressed, these also need to be included. After that, the organization shall ensure that contract or order requirements differing from those previously defined are resolved. So all these things from A to F, all these things need to be included. Okay, so whenever you are starting any contract with the customer, the customer requirement shall be confirmed by the organization before acceptance. So customer requirements before starting any contract, you should confirm or you should accept that one. When the customer does not provide a documented statement of their requirements. Note, in some situations such as internet sales, a formal review is impractical for each order. Instead, the review can cover relevant product information such as catalogs. So sometimes, such as internet sales, through you are selling you're selling your product through the internet calls for formal review. So in this one, formal review is impracticable for each order. So instead, the review can over relevant product information, such as, so you can use this one as a catalog. So in that one, they can see the what are the services you are offering customer. They can see, and after then they can order the service. Subclause 8.2.3.2, the organization shall retain documented information as applicable. As I said, each and everything, whatever things you are doing, creating developing documents, or uh, like SOPs you are implementing, you're communicating and doing the communication with the customers or other parties. So all these things you should maintain as a documented information, okay, on the results of the review or any new requirements of the product and services. All these should be maintained as a documented information. After that, subclause 8.2.4, changes to requirements for product and services. The organization shall ensure that relevant documented information is amended, and that relevant persons are made aware of the changed requirements when the requirements of product and services are changed. So whenever you are changing your product, whenever you are changing your services compared to previously which you are providing, and you are doing any changes, make sure you are doing the what you have to do is, in this one you have to make sure that whoever you are providing the services, they are aware about these changes, okay. You have to communicate with them what are the changes you are doing, okay. If there is any negative effect or positive effect, those things also need to be informed after the uh, not after the changes, before the changes. Maybe the customers who's taking your product since long back, after the changes they won't take your product or services. So before starting any changes to your business or in your product, make sure you are informing your interested parties. Subclause 8.3, design and development of product and services. This clause 8.3, this clause is excluded by so many businesses, because this particular clause is not applicable for so many businesses, okay. It is only applicable in wherever you are doing the designing and the development of the product and the services. If you are not doing any designing or development of the product or services, this clause is not applicable for you. So whenever you are making the quality management system manual, in that particular clause, like in the scope, you can mention that this particular clause 8.3, design and development, has been excluded due to this reason, as business is not doing design and development. That's all, okay. But if you are doing this clause, you have to maintain. So the requirements of this clause is, the organization shall establish, implement and maintain a design and development process that is appropriate to ensure the subsequent provision of product and services. 8.3.2, design and development planning. So before starting the design and development of any product or service, first you have to do the planning, okay. In determining the stages and controls of design and development, the organization shall consider. So when you are doing in the planning, what you have to consider as an organization, you have to consider the nature, the duration and complexity of the design and development activities. So all these things you need to consider. The required process stages, how many stages will be there, including applicable design and development reviews, the required design and development verification and validation activities. So if let's say that you are designing any new design and development, any new design you are developing, so that design and development should be verified also, and that should be validated also. So who going to verify it and who going to validate it, that should be included in your process also. The responsibilities and authorities involved in the design and development process, who is the responsible, who has the authorities during the design and development process, that's need to be included also. So whenever you are doing the design, you have to make sure that you are including the internal and external resources needs for the design and development product and services. After that, the need to control interfaces between persons involved in the design and development process, the need for involvement of customers and users in the design and development process. Maybe you are designing the new product for the customers, and you want customer to get involved in that particular process, design and development. So you have to include the customers during the design and development process. The requirements for subsequent provision of product and services, the level of control expected for the design and development process by customers and other relevant interested parties. Okay, so what are the expectations of interested parties during the design and development process? Those things also need to be included in the process. The documented information needed to demonstrate that design and development requirements have been met. Once you do the design and development planning, you have to make sure that you are keeping this as undocumented information. As I said, the process or SOP, you have to maintain it. So whenever the interested parties they are looking for this document, you can provide them. So design 8.3.3 subclause design and development inputs. The organization shall determine the requirement essential for the specific types of product and services to be designed and developed. The organization shall consider. So whenever you are starting any design and development process, what are the resources, what are the inputs you require to do this process? These things also need to be considered, and you should make a list. Okay, so functional and performance requirements, like you may require new engineer, you may require new product development people, so those need to include. Second, information derived from previous similar design and development activities. What are the information you are getting from the previous similar design and development activities? Those also need to include. C, statutory and regulatory requirements. What are the requirements regarding the statutory, regarding by law, by international requirements or other requirements, local requirements, ISO standard requirements? Those also need to be included. D, standards or codes of practice that the organization has committed to implement. Those also need to be included. E, potential consequences of failure due to the nature of the product and services. Input shall be adequate for design and development process. So whenever you are providing any inputs, okay, resources, so that should be adequate for the design and development process. Complete and unambiguous. Conflicting design and development input shall be resolved. The organization shall retain documented information on design and development inputs. So as I said, you have to make the list on this one, and you should maintain this list as a documented information. Whenever any interested parties they want to see this one, you should present that. Subclause 8.3.4 design and development controls. So when you are designing and developing any process or any product, how are you going to control that one? So the organization shall apply controls to the design and development process to ensure that the results to be achieved are defined. Okay, so you have to make sure that you are controlling the process. Why you have to control the process? To make sure that whatever you are planning, that you're going to achieve at the end of the process. Okay, review are conducted to evaluate the ability of the results of design and development to meet the requirements. Verification activities are conducted to ensure that the design and development outputs meet the input requirements. So whenever you are taking finishing any product, finishing any particular service, you have to do the verification activities also. Okay, you can use the checklist and you can verify the process or verify the product, whether the product has been met with the particular requirements or not. D, validation activities are conducted to ensure that the resulting products and services meet the requirements for the specified application or intended use. Any necessary actions are taken on problems determined during the reviews or verification and validation activities. Documented information of these activities is retained. As I said, you have to make a documented information. Clause number 8.3.5 design and development outputs. So once you will finish the process, so what you are expecting from the process? The organization shall ensure that design and development outputs meet the input requirements, are adequate for the subsequent process for the provision of product and services, include or reference monitoring and measuring requirements as appropriate, and acceptance criteria. So when you are expecting any outputs from any particular services, any particular process, You should check that also, and you should verify that also to make sure that you are getting exactly the same thing which you are intended to get that one. Okay, specify the characteristics of the products and services that are essential for their intended purpose and their safe and proper provision. The organization shall retain documented information on design and development outputs. So this one also should make as a documented information. Clause number 8.3.6, design and development changes. The organization shall identify, review, and control changes made during or subsequent to the design and development of product and services to the extent necessary to ensure that there is no adverse impact on conformity to requirements. Okay, so during the design and development, if you have any changes, if you are doing any changes, sudden changes, like at the like while finishing the product, you are doing some sudden changes, those changes also need to be maintained, or that should be retained as a documented information. Okay, and while you are making the documented information, you should mention that why you are doing that certain changes, what was the requirement, what you made to do that changes, and what are the impact from that changes, whether it's a negative or positive. So all these things should be maintained and mentioned as a documented information you should maintain. Okay, so the organization shall retain documented information on design and development changes. If there is any changes you have done, the results of reviews, what are the results during the reviews, the authorization of the changes, who gave the authority to do the changes, who is the authorized person, the action taken to prevent adverse impact, what action you took to prevent the adverse impact from that changes. Okay, so all these information should be maintained and retained as a documented information. After that, we have the clause 8.4, control of externally provided services, product and services. Okay, the organization shall ensure that externally provided process, product and services conform to requirements. The organization shall determine the controls to be applied to externally provided process, product and services. When product, so when you have to do that one, when product and services from external providers are intended for the incorporation into the organization's own product and services. Let's say you are making a chocolate. To make that chocolate, you are getting the raw product from the different companies or different industries. So while you are making that chocolate and you are receiving the raw product, you have to be make sure that you have the control over those raw product. Okay, so how are you going to have a control over the raw product? Okay, first of all, you have to be make sure that raw product is free from any contamination. To make sure that the product is free from contamination, what you have to go in, what you have to do that, maybe you need the x-ray, maybe you need the metal detector, maybe you need the people to for the sorting process, maybe you need this certain kind of machineries and so on. So these are the way you can control the externally provided process. Okay, product and services are provided directly to the consumers by external providers on behalf of the organizations. Okay, maybe you have hired someone, maybe I have the franchise. I took the franchises of McDonald. Okay, but I'm not the owner of the McDonald. Owner of the McDonald is someone else. But the owner of the McDonald, he gave me the franchises to me to sell the product in particular country. So while I am selling the product on behalf of McDonald, so I have to be so McDonald need to be make sure that the person who's selling the McDonald product is following the exactly same criteria which has been set by the McDonald. Because the person is selling behind behalf of McDonald, he can spoil the market value of the McDonald. So all these things need to be controlled by the organization. A process or part of a process is provided by an external provider as a result of a decision by the organization. The organization shall determine and apply criteria for the evaluation. How are you going to evaluate the person who's providing the service on behalf of you? Okay, and how are you going to select them? Monitoring of performance and re-evaluation of external providers. Okay, and how are you going to re-evaluate them? Maybe you will go randomly over there layouts, maybe you will have the phone call, maybe you will get the market review, maybe you will get the customer review, okay, so on. Based on their ability to provide process or product and services in accordance with the requirements. The organization shall retain documented information of these activities and any necessary actions arising from the evaluation. So, as the organization, as the owner of the McDonald, okay, so whenever you are doing these things, you are doing the evaluation of your externally provided process and anyone you are giving any franchises. So, whenever you are doing the selection, monitoring of performance, evaluation of external providers, so all these activities, whenever you are conducting, you should keep them as a documented information. So in the future, you can use them as a evidence as well. Okay. Subclause 8.4.2, type and extent of control. The organization shall ensure that externally provided process, product, and services do not adversely affect the organization's ability to consistently deliver conforming product and services to its customer. Okay, so if you have given franchises to someone else, you have to be make sure that the someone else who's taking the franchise, he will not give any bad impact or any bad effect to your organization. So the organization shall ensure that externally provided process remain within the control of its quality management system. Okay, so your quality management system, that should be remain whatever the process you have providing externally. Okay, that should be in your quality management system, and the person who's taking your franchises, they should exactly follow the same quality management system which you are following as owner. Define both the controls that it intends to apply to an external provider and those it intends to apply to the resulting output. Take into consideration. So what you have to take the consideration is the potential impact of the externally provided process, product and services on the organization's ability to consistently meet customers and applicable statutory and regulatory requirements, the effectiveness of the controls applied by the external provider. So maybe the effectiveness or controls applied by the external provider, maybe the someone who's taking the franchisee, he has applied some additional controls on those things. So you have to verify them, you have to evaluate them also. Okay. Determine the verification or other activities necessary to ensure that the externally provided process, product, and services meet requirements. So you have to determine the verification or other activities also. So you have to be make sure that product and services meet with your quality management system requirements. Subclause 8.4.3, information for external providers. The organization shall ensure that the adequacy of requirements prior to their communication to the external provider. The organization shall communicate to external provider its requirements. So whatever your requirements is there for the quality, maintaining the quality management system. Okay, so the same thing also, information, the quality management system, you should communicate with the external providers as well. Okay, what you have to communicate is you have to provide the information for the process, product, and services to be provided, whatever the services or product you're going to provide them, the approval, product, and services, method, process, and equipment, what are the methods, process, or equipment is going to be used for that particular process, the release of product and services, how the product or service is going to be released. Okay, competence including any required qualification of persons, maybe you require certain kind of qualification to do the particular kind of job. So you have to be make sure that external providers, they follow the same thing which you are following. The external providers interactions with the organizations, external providers, they should frequently interact with the organization to make sure that they understood the requirements of the organization and they follow the exact same way. Control and monitoring of the external providers performance to be applied by the organizations. So how are you going to control and monitoring the external providers performance to be applied by the organization? So that also need to be communicated. Verification or validation activities that the organization or its customers intends to perform at the external providers premises. Maybe you want to go to the external providers premises for the random checking, random audits, random inspections. So all these things also you need to inform to the external providers as well. So at the time the audit or the inspections or the random spot checking, there won't be any conflicts. Subclause 8.5, production and service provision. Control of product and service provision. The organization shall implement production and service provision under control conditions. Control conditions shall include, as applicable, the availability of documented information that defines the characteristics of the products to be produced, the services to be provided, or the activities to be performed. So while you are maintaining the documented information, it should include the characteristics of the products to be produced. What is the characteristics of the product you're going to produce? Let's say I'm going to produce a sneaker chocolate. So what is the characteristics of the product? It should be like 10 to 15 centimeter long. It should be 5 to 6 centimeter thick. It should have the like wrapper which is silky golden color, or certain requirements. So all these characteristics of the product that should be included, and that should have the format. And what is the results to be achieved? The availability and use of suitable monitoring and measuring resources. So what are the resources you have to monitor and measuring the product? That should be included also. The implementation of monitoring and measurement activities at appropriate stages to verify that criteria for control of process or outputs and acceptance criteria for products and services have been met. The use of suitable infrastructure and environment for the operation of the process. The appointment of competent persons, including any required qualifications. Maybe you required some competent persons to do the certain kind of job. So those requirements also need to be included. The validation and periodic revalidation of the ability to achieve planned results of the process for production and service provision, where the resulting outputs cannot be verified by subsequent monitoring or measurement. The implementation of actions to prevent human error. So if there is any human error, like while producing, how are you going to prevent them? Maybe you're going to prevent them by supervision, maybe you're going to prevent them by like more training or any other activities or any other things. Maybe you want to buy some new technical machines or some new software. So how are you going to implement that implementation, the actions? Okay, after that, the implementation of release, delivery, and post delivery activities, those also need to be included in the control of production and service provision. Identification and traceability. Our next subclause, the organization shall use suitable means to identify outputs when it is necessary to ensure the conformity of product and services. The organization shall identify the status of outputs with respect to monitoring and measurement requirements throughout the production and service provision. Okay, the organization shall control the unique identification of outputs. Okay, when traceability is requirement, and shall retain the documented information necessary to enable traceability. So how you going to trace your product? So to do the proper tracing of your product, first of all you should have the complete list of your customers. Okay, where you going to serve it? Maybe someone is taking from you, and after from you, the person is selling to someone else, the third party. You should have that information also, so you can trace it back properly. Second thing, you should have the contact details, contact persons, their address, how much quantity you are selling them, weekly basis, monthly basis, all this information that should be there. While you are producing any product, any services, that particular product, that should have the proper barcode or any identification number or the batch number. So whenever you want to recall that product or you want to trace back that product, it would be easy for you to trace it back where it has been gone. Okay, where you have dispatched it. So these things should be informed, and these things should be included in your identification and traceability process. Clear? 8.5.3, property belongings to customers for external providers. Maybe you are using some of the equipment, some of the property which is belonging to customers. those also need to be managed. The organization shall exercise care with property belongings to customers or external providers while it is under the organization control or being used by the organizations. Let's say that you are providing security guard services, and you have the contract with the mall. In the mall, you are using the service of the organization, mall organization services you are using, and you are using their equipments, maybe walkie talkie, maybe what you call taxi, internal taxi, which is using inside the mall. So how you going to manage that one, how you going to take care of that one, you should have that process also. In that process, you should have the proper control measures to keep the customer product safe and sound. The organization shall identify, verify, protect, and safeguard customers or external providers' property. So you have to identify them, okay? You have to verify, and you have to protect them and safeguard. When the property of a customer or external providers is lost, damaged, or otherwise found to be unsuitable for use, the organization shall report this to the customer or external provider and retain documented information on what has occurred. So whenever there is any problem with the particular process or the equipment, if the equipment is damaged, get lost, it has got lost, so what you going to do with that one? How are you going to report it? How are you going to track it down? Okay, what are the issues with that? So all these things need to be informed to the customers, and all these information which you are providing to the customers, that should have the documented information. What you can do is you can create a format. Okay, so whenever you are doing whenever you are returning any product, any service, or any equipment due to any reason, you should have that record with you, and you can take the signature from the customers. Yes, customer has been received the product. So whenever if anyone required any document in future, you can easily have the access. Note, a customer's or external provider's property can include, it could include material, components, tools and equipment, premises, intellectual property, or personal data. It could be anything. Okay. So whenever you are using any customer or property belongings to customers or external provider, it doesn't mean only the equipment. It doesn't mean only the tool. It could be the premises. Like as I said, that you are using the mall premises for the washroom or anything. So any premises you are using for the office purpose or any other activities, so it is the responsibility for you to make sure that the premises and the process or the equipments maintain in a correct way. After that, subclause 8.5.4, preservation. The organization shall preserve the outputs during production and service provision to the extent necessary to ensure conformity to requirements. Note, preservation can include identification, handling, contamination control, packing, storage, transmission or transportation, and protection. So how are you going to preserve? So it could be include the identification. What you will identify? You will identify the product and service outputs. Handling, how you going to handle it? How you going to control the contamination? How you going to pack it? How you going to store the product? How you going to transfer the product? All those things comes under the preservation. Okay, because all these steps you are preserving the product and services. You are let's say you are keeping safe them to get damage. 8.5.5, post delivery activities. Now you have delivered the product. After the post delivery activities, what you have to do? The organization shall meet requirements for post delivery activities associated with the products. So you have to meet with the requirements and services. In determining the extent of post delivery activities that are required, the organization shall consider: 1. Statutory and regulatory requirements. What are the statutory and regulatory requirements? What are the law required? Okay, so those need to be considered. Second, the potential undesired consequences associated with its product and services. Third, the nature, use, and intended lifetime of its product and services. All these things you need to be identified, and you need to inform to your customer. And what are the customer requirements that need to be considered also. And after the deliveries, after it's used by the customers, you should get the customer feedback also. So all these things need to be included in the post delivery activities process. Note, post delivery activities can include actions under warranty provisions, contractual obligations, such as maintenance services and supplementary services such as recycling or final disposable. So all these things can be included in the post delivery activities. Our next subclause is control of changes. So if there is any changes, so how are you going to control them? That's also you need to include in your process quality management system manual. So the organization shall review and control changes of production or service provision to the extent necessary to ensure continuing conformity with requirements. And when you are making any changes or you are controlling any changes, you should make this as a documented information describing the results of the review of changes, the provision authorizing the changes as we discussed earlier, and any necessary actions arising from the review. After that, we have the release of product and services. The organization shall implement plan arrangements at appropriate stages to verify that the product and service requirements have been met. The release of products and services to the customer shall not proceed until the plan arrangements have been satisfactorily completed. So, before you are dispatching any product or services to the customers, you have to make sure that whatever the plan arrangements have, you have decided that should that have been met, okay, satisfactorily completed, unless otherwise approved by a relevant authority and as applicable by the customers, or otherwise it should be approved by the relevant authority. The organization shall retain documented information on the release of the product and services. Whatever the product you are releasing or the services you are releasing, you should maintain as a documented information. The documented information shall include evidence of conformity with the acceptance criteria. So the person who give the authority, the person who release the product, that all the information that should be there. Traceability to the person authorizing the release, the person who is giving the authorization to release the product, those details also need to be there in documented information. Our next clause is 8.7, control of non-conforming products. So after issuing the product, you got the details, you got the complaint from the customers that one of the product or the service which you are providing, it is not meeting the customer requirements, so it called non-conformance, not meeting the required criteria. Okay, so how are you going to control them? The organization shall ensure that outputs that do not conform to their requirements are identified and controlled to prevent their unintended use or delivery. So whenever any non-conformity is raised by the customers, you have to make sure that the particular product or services are held, okay, you put them aside, you isolate them, and you have to make sure that are not included in the delivery. The organization shall take appropriate action based on the nature of the non-conformity and its effect on the conformity of products and services. So whenever you are receiving any non-conformity complaints from the customers, you have to check its effect conformity products and services also, and you have to take the action against that also. This shall also apply to non-conforming products and services detected after delivery of products, during or after the provision of services. As I said, the organization shall deal with non-conforming products outputs in one or more of the following ways. So how you can deal with the non-conforming outputs, non-conforming products? What you can do is you can do the correction. If there is, like, at the same time you can during the delivery you can do the same time the correction. Maybe you have to deliver the 10 box of chocolate, but you deliver only 8 box. So if you have the extra 2 boxes in your vehicle, at the same time you can do the correction, you can deliver the same 2 boxes, so it could be corrected at the same time. After that, segregation, contaminant, return or suspension of provision of product and services. You can, second thing, you have to segregate the product or the outputs which is not meeting the criteria. If the product is containment also, or retain or suspension for provision of product and services. Second, third thing, you have to inform the customer also. You have to inform the customer that if there is particular product is not meeting the requirements, if it has already been delivered to the particular customer, you have to inform them also, and you have to make sure that they are not using that particular service or product. Obtaining authorization for acceptance under concession. Conformity to the requirements shall be verified when non-conforming product outputs are corrected. So whenever the non-conforming outputs or service or product has been corrected, that should be verified also, and that should be corrected also. After that, we have the subclauses 8.7.2. The organization shall retain documented information. So whenever you are dealing with the NRC, non-conformance product, okay, NCR, non-conformance related product. So what you have to include is you have to describe the non-conformity. What was the non-conformity? What was the issue with the product or the services? After that, you have to describe the action taken, what actions you have took. Okay, describe any concessions obtained. Maybe there are some concessions that obtained during this process that also need to be included. Identifies the authority deciding the action in respect of the non-conformity, and you have to include the details of the authority who decide the actions for this NCR. Okay, sorry. Our next clause is performance evaluation, clause number 9. It's not that much big clause, it's a small clause. Okay, but the clause number 8 is very very big, as we can see that one. So let's start the clause number 9, performance evaluation. Now all the things we have said, now what you have to do is you have to evaluate your performance. You have to evaluate your quality management system, you have to evaluate your people, you have to evaluate your process, your SOP, your products, your services, all you have to evaluate. Why you have to evaluate is, if you will not evaluate your product, process and services and certain other things, you won't be able that where you are standing right now and where you want to go, what you want to achieve. So that's why evaluation is very very important. Okay, so in evaluation it's included monitoring, measurement, analysis and evaluation. The clause number 9.1, it's the organization shall determine what needs to be monitored and measured. Okay, you should have the performance evaluation SOP, standard operating procedure, or your process. In that one you should include that what's need to be monitored and measured, what you want to monitor, what you want to measure. Maybe the whole facility, maybe the whole process you want to monitor, you want to measure, that need to be included. The methods of monitoring, how are you going to monitor them? Okay, how are you going to measure them, analyze, evaluate, need to be ensure valid results. Okay, so how are you going to monitor them? Maybe the audit, maybe the external audit, maybe the internal audit, maybe the inspection. So what are the tools you are going to use for the monitoring and the measurement? That all things need to be included. When the monitoring and measuring shall be performed, so how frequently you are going to monitor them? Maybe the annually, biannually, monthly, weekly. So the frequency also need to be mentioned. When the results from monitoring and measurement shall be analyzed and evaluated, and when the results from the monitoring and measurement shall be analyzed and evaluated. Okay, so when you're going to evaluate them, maybe at the end of the year you're going to evaluate the whole year performance monitoring. Okay, the organization shall evaluate the performance and the effectiveness of the quality management system. The organization shall evaluate and performance and the effectiveness of the quality management system. Okay, the organization shall retain appropriate documented information as evidence of the results. So whenever as organization you are doing the evaluation or the effectiveness of the performance of the quality management system, that should be maintained as a documented information as well. Clause number 9.1.2, customer satisfaction. The organization shall monitor customers' perceptions of the degree to which their needs and expectations have been fulfilled. The organization shall determine the methods for obtaining, monitoring and reviewing this information. Note, examples of monitoring customers' perceptions can include customer surveys, customer feedback on delivery. Okay, so these things you can include while you are doing the customer satisfaction. How you going to monitor, how you going to make sure that your customers are satisfied. So if you want to know that one, you can use customer survey, you can use the customer feedback on delivery, product and services. Like if you are if your drivers they're going for the delivery, at that time they can have the format fill up, and your customer they can give the review on that one. Meetings with customer, you can have frequent meetings with the customers to know their whether you are meeting with their requirements or not. Market share analysis, maybe your market value is going up, it means you are meeting with the customer requirements. Maybe the complaints, it means that you are not meeting with the customer requirements. Warranty claims and dealer reports, so all these things you can use for the customer satisfaction. Clause 9.1.3, analysis and evaluation. The organization shall analyze, okay, and evaluate perform appropriate data and information arising from monitoring and measurement. The results of analysis shall be used to evaluate. So whatever the results you are getting from the analysis, that you can use to evaluate the conformity of the product and services, the degree of customer satisfaction, how much they are satisfied customer, the performance and effectiveness of the quality management system. You can know that what is the effectiveness of your quality management system, if planning has been implemented effectively or not, the effectiveness of action taken to address risk and opportunities, the performance of external providers, how they are performing, your external providers, that you can analyze and evaluate. The need for improvements to the quality management systems. So during the analysis and evaluation, you can come to know that what is the need for, if there is any need for improvements to the quality management system or not. Note, method to analyze data can include statistical techniques as well. Okay. Our next clause is 9.2, internal audit. Internal audit is one of the way you can evaluate your performance. So where you are standing now, you can evaluate that one through the internal audit also. The organization shall conduct internal audits at planned intervals to provide information on whether the quality management system to conforms to the organization's own requirements for its quality management system, the requirements of this international standards is effectively implemented and maintained. So through the internal audit, you can come to know that you can have the conformity that the organization on requirements for its quality management system are maintained or not. The requirements for international standard ISO 9000 on 2015 are met or not. Quality management system is effectively implemented or not. So all these information, all these analyze, evaluation you can do in internal audit. Okay. 9.2.2, the organization shall plan, establish, implement and maintain the audit program, including the frequency, methods, responsibilities, planning requirements and reporting, which shall take into consideration the importance of the process concerned, changes affecting the organization and the results of previous audits. So as an organization, you must make a plan of the audit, and that audit plan should be established, it should be implemented, and it should be maintained as an audit program. Okay, and in this one it should be include the frequency, how frequently you're going to do the audit, what are the methods you're going to include, who is the responsible, and what are the responsibilities they have as a team, auditor team, how are you going to plan the audit, how are you going to report them. Okay, so all this information should be included in the audit program. B, define the audit criteria and scope for each audit. So whenever you are doing any audit, so that audit criteria for and the scope of the audit, that should be clearly defined also. Maybe the audit criteria is that how you're going to do the audit and what are the scope are included. Maybe you're going to do the audit for certain departments only, you are not going to do the audit for the whole facility. So all these things need to be included in the audit program. Select auditors and conduct audits to ensure objectivity and the impartiality of the audit process. So how are you going to select the auditors, from which department you will take the auditors to do the audits. So all these things need to be included also. Ensure that the results of the audits are reported to the relevant management. After the audit, need to be make sure that the audit report is reported to the relevant management. Take appropriate correction and corrective actions without undue delay. After circulating the audit report, need to make sure that correction and corrective actions has been taken. Retain documented information. Whenever you are doing any internal audits, that audit report should be present there, and whenever there is any external parties coming for the uh, inspections or the audit, these documents need to be presented. After that, there is another one, management review clause, subclause 9.3. Top management shall review the organization quality management system at planned intervals to ensure its continually suitability, adequacy, effectiveness, and alignment with the strategic direction of the organization. Management review, it's a kind of like, you can say it's a high level meeting. In this one, you should include the all department heads, and this should be done with the higher level management of the company. So at least once in a year it should be performed, and all the information related to the quality management systems, audits, non-conformance, and other customer complaints, any internal audit, external audit, all these things should be included in the management review. And the effectiveness of the quality management system, objectives and targets, whether the policy is achieved or not, all this information should be included in the management review system, and these things should be discussed during the meeting. So whenever you are doing the management review meeting, what should be included in this one? The management review shall be planned and carried out taking into consideration. So management review meeting should be planned. It should be planned, like it should be once in a year minimum. Okay. So whenever you are doing the management review meeting, these points should be included. The status of actions from previous management reviews. What are the management? What are the like points has been discussed previously in the management review meeting? Those also need to be included whenever you are doing the new management review meeting. Changes in external and internal issues that are relevant to the quality management systems that need to be discussed. Information on the performance and effectiveness of the quality management system, including trends in. So all these things need to be included. Customer satisfaction and feedback from relevant and interested parties that need to be discussed. The extent of which quality objectives have been met, that objective and targets of the quality management system that need to be discussed. Process performance and conformity of product and services that need to be discussed also. Any NCR and the corrective actions of the NCRs that need to be discussed. Monitoring and measurement results like the audit results, internal external audit results that need to be discussed also. The performance of external providers. If you have any external providers, how they are performing, like how they are providing your the services to you. So all these things need to be discussed also. After that, adequacy of resources. The resources which has been provided by the organizations, are they adequate or not? These also things need to be discussed. Maybe you need some more resources. The resources which you are getting now, those resources are not adequate. Okay, so these things also need to be discussed. The effectiveness of actions taken to address risk and opportunities for improvements, those also need to be discussed during the management review meetings. So after the management review outputs, after the management review meeting, there will be some outputs. Okay, the outputs of the management review shall include discussion and actions related to the opportunities for improvement. What are the opportunities for improvements are there? Any need of changes to the quality management system? Maybe during the meeting it's been discussed that there need to be some changes in the quality management system, so that also need to be included. Resources needs. Maybe during the meeting it's decided that some more resources will be provided, so resource needs also need to include. The organization shall retain documented information as evidence of the results of the management review. So management review meetings, input and outputs, it should be maintained as a documented information as a evidence. So that's all about the clause number 9. Now we're going to start clause number 10. So clause number 10 is all about the improvement, how you want to improve your business, how you're going to improve the quality management system. Okay. So subclause 10.1, general. The organization shall determine and select opportunities for improvement and implement. Any necessary actions to meet customer requirements and enhance customer satisfaction. So organization shall determine and select opportunities. So whenever you are doing this SWOT analysis, that time you can come to know the opportunities for improvement. Okay, these should include improving product and services to meet requirements as well as to address future needs and expectations, correcting, preventing, or reducing undesired effects, improving the performance and effectiveness of the quality management system. Note, examples of improvement can include correction, corrective actions, continual improvement, breakthrough, change, innovations, and reorganizations. So when you are doing any improvements, as I said, you can do the SWOT analysis. You can take the idea from the customer satisfaction survey, maybe the customer providing more uh, better ways to deliver the service or product. So all these things need to be considered while you are doing the improvement process. Non-conformity and corrective actions. Subclause 10.2. When a non-conformity NCR occurs, including any arising from complaints, the organization shall, what they have to do, react to the non-conformity, and as applicable, they should react. Take action to control and correct it. Immediately they should take the actions and they should take the control to avoid reoccurrence. Deal with the consequences. If there is any consequences, that need to be deal also. After that, evaluate the need for actions to eliminate the causes of the nonconformity in order that it does not reoccur or occur elsewhere. Maybe there is some issues today, so you have to make sure that you take the action that should not be reoccur tomorrow also in somewhere else. So how you going to do it? You have to review and analyze the nonconformity properly. Determining the causes of the nonconformity. What are the causes of the nonconformity? NCR, you have to determine. Determining if similar nonconformity exists or could potentially occur. These also need to be taken into account. Implement any action needed. If there is any action needed for this thing, that need to be implement also. Review the effectiveness of any corrective action taken. So whatever the corrective action you have taken, that need to be reviewed also. Okay, why you have to review? You have to check that whether it is effective continuously or not. Maybe today it is effective, tomorrow it's not effective because process changed, equipment changed, maybe the people changed. There could be so many reasons. Update risk and opportunities determined during planning if necessary. Make changes to the quality management system if necessary. Corrective action shall be appropriate to the effects of the nonconformities encountered. Subclause 10.2.2. The organization shall retain documented information as evidence of the nature of the nonconformities and subsequent action taken. The results of any corrective action that need to be maintained as a documented information. 10.3 clause number continual improvement. The organization shall continually improve the suitability, adequacy, and effectiveness of the quality management system. So how you can do that? You can do that through the audit, inspections, external audit, internal audit. So through that way, SWOT analysis, customer complaint, you can continually improve. The organization shall consider the results of analysis and evaluation and the outputs from the management review to determine if there are needs for opportunities that shall be addressed as part of continual improvement. So all these things need to be included in the continual improvements. Okay, so that's all from my side. So how you uh, how how you like the training, you could tell me in the comment sections, and make sure you click the bell icon. You can subscribe my channel to encourage me to make some more videos on these kind of training. My next videos will come on the more trainings like the ISO 45001, 9015. This I already did it. After that it will be 14001, 2015, 22000, 2018, and some more videos will come definitely for the food safety, health and safety, and so on. Thank you for your time and patience. Thanks a lot.